We often come across lists and rankings of wealthiest people in the world, which are tech entrepreneurs, or magnates, and heads of major corporations. And since we are living at the time when the 1% is only getting richer, we could assume that probably the richest men of our days are the richest men in the history. But that is not the case, as many historians believe that the 14th century emperor of Mali, Mansa Musa, is in fact the richest individual in history, defining his wealth as indescribable. How has this relatively unknown monarch of a relatively unknown country managed to reach this status? In this episode of Historical Africa, we are going to talk about Mansa Musa, his noteworthy reign, his immense wealth, and how it was demonstrated to the world. The story of the Mali Empire is told to us by the Sundiata. According to Sundiata Keita, the son of the king of the Mandinka people. Upon the death of his father, his brother became the new king, while Sundiata was exiled to the court of King of Mema. But when the Mandinka people asked Sundiata for help to repel the invasion by the Sosso Empire, 18 years old Sundiata raised an army from Mema and defeated the Sosso in around 1235. At the Battle of Kiriana, paving the way to the establishment of the Mali Empire, and Sundiata Keita becoming its first Mansa. The Mali emperor was ruled by the Mansa, but the emperor's rule was balanced with Gbara, a type of entity which reminds of the upper chamber of parliament. Gbara unite almost 30 clans, with each assigned with their own tasks, ranging from participation and leadership in military campaigns to expertise in religious matters. Gbara voted on Kurunga Fuga, collection of laws, a proto-constitution of Mali. The Kurunga Fuga determines the role of clans, called for inhuman treatment of slaves, established social organization of the subject of the Mali Empire, and stipulated economic rule. The Empire of Mali was very rich in resources. It contained 3 large gold mines, which all belongs to Mansa. At its apex, the Mali Empire owned almost half of the known gold reserve in the world. Mali also enjoyed a large supply of salt and copper, which was extracted through slave labor, essentially making the Mali Empire a slave owner state. With Europe still short of its global appeal and power of the Roman period, the major trade partners of Mali, Mansa Musa, were the Middle Eastern trade cities and states. This was the context to which Mansa Musa came to power. He was initially a deputy of the Emperor Muhammad ibn Q, who dreamed of finding new lands across the Atlantic. Sometime around 1311, he embarked on the expedition with 2,000 ships and left, leaving the reign to his deputy Musa, who became Mansa, since Muhammad ibn Q never returned. Musa was no outsider to the Malian elite, as he was coming from the line of Sundiata Keita, the founder of the Mali Empire. He knew Arabic and was a devout Muslim. Mansa Musa is said to have expanded the trade network of the Mali Empire, making the country and him personally as a Mansa even wealthier. But while Mali and Mansa Musa were very rich, sub-Saharan Africa was not really known much to the European and Middle Eastern people. Whether out of religion duty or as a campaign to demonstrate his and Mali's power and wealth in 1324, he went on a pilgrim to Mecca. According to Ibn Khaldun, who had interviewed one of the participants of the pilgrim later, at each out, he, Musa, would regard us with rare foods and confectionaries. His equipment and furnishing were carried by 12,000 private slave women wearing gowns of brocade and Yemeni silk. Furthermore, thousands of soldiers, members of the Malian royal court, along with the tons of gold and provisions, accompanied Mansa Musa in his 4,000-mile pilgrim to Mecca. Undoubtedly, it was quite a spectacle. A massive golden tent city moving through the desert. This was going to catch the attentions of rulers of state through which Mansa Musa's procession was going. There was an interesting episode of Musa's visit to Cairo in 1324. According to Al-Mari, the Mamluk Sultan Al-Malik al-Nasir sent his envoy to invite Mansa Musa to his palace. The emperor initially refused to state that the sole purpose of his travel was the holy pilgrim and nothing else. Nevertheless, Mansa Musa showed great courtesy and respect to the envoy and offered gold and other valuables to be sent to the Mamluk Sultan as a token of his respect. Probably the biggest reason for Musa's initial refusal to see the Sultan was the fact that the royal protocol demanded all visitors to kiss the ground and Sultan's hand. Finally, Mansa Musa gave up and agreed to meet the Sultan after long persuasion. When the moment of kneeling and kissing the ground came, he said, "I make obeisance to Allah who created me," and kissed the ground, managing to avoid disrespecting his host while also refusing to accept the Mamluk Sultan as a superior. Mansa Musa flooded the Sultan, his court, the city of Cairo, and it poured with gold. So much gold that the most valuable commodity of that age had seen the decrease of its price due to the high supply, causing an economic crisis in Egypt for over a decade. Overall, Musa's generosity during the pilgrim actually hurt the region of the Middle East economically. The US-based technological company Smart Asset website estimates that due to the depreciation of gold, Mansa Musa's pilgrim led to about $1.5 billion United States of economic losses across the Middle East. Some state that when Mansa Musa found out about the impact of his travel through Egypt, he tried to remove as much gold as possible from circulation in Egypt by buying the very gold he generously gifted to the people there. Lucy Duran of the School of African and Studies in London informed that Musa gave away so much of the Malian gold that the local griots are unhappy with him. He came out so much Malian gold along the way with griots so much do not like to praise him in their songs because they think he wasted local resources outside the empire. But despite inadvertently causing an economic crisis in the Middle East, Mansa Musa managed to bring Mali to the attention of the Middle East and European countries by demonstrating the immense wealth of his reign during the pilgrim. Probably that is why there are more sources and information on Musa's post-pilgrim reign. During Musa's reign, the Mali Empire expanded. On the way back from the pilgrim in 1325, he added the region of Gao with an important trading city of Timbuktu into the empire. But sources do not really inform us on how it happened. Regardless of how it happened, Timbuktu became an important part of Mansa Musa's reign. Mali's wealth allowed Musa to embark on a massive construction effort throughout the empire, particularly Timbuktu. During Mansa Musa's reign, the world-famous Gbara mosque, which was built from mud brick and wood and is still standing, was constructed in Timbuktu. Another important construction project was the University of Sakore of the Sakore Madaras, which became one of the greatest centers of Islamic learning in the world. Law, astronomy, medicine, religion, and other disciplines were taught there. It is said that Musa brought scholars on the way back from the pilgrim who helped to establish the academic foundation of the university. An Adulasian poet and architect named Abdul S. Ak-Saeli, who is believed to be responsible for the design of the Gbara mosque, was among the group. By the end of Musa's reign, the University of Sankore is said to have almost 24,000 students, which one of the largest libraries in the world, in possession of 700,000 manuscripts. Gao and Timbuktu were not the only region and cities captured by Mansa Musa. He is said to annex 24 cities in total during his reign. By the end of his reign, the Mali Empire stretched for approximately 2,000 miles from the shore of the Atlantic to the modern-day Niger, possessing lands of modern-day Mali, Senegal, Gambia, Guinea, Guinea-Bissau, Ivory Coast, Niger, Nigeria, Chad, Mauritania, and Burkina Faso. Mansa Musa in part made his empire known to Europe and the Middle East. In 1375, the Catalan Atlas map added the Mali Empire with a drawing of an African king sitting on a golden throne in Timbuktu with a piece of gold in his hand. Musa's reign ended sometime between 1332 and 1337 when he died. He was succeeded by his son, who was said to be a bad and profligate Mansa. He was succeeded by his brother Mansa Suleiman, who helped to rebuild the empire's treasury and put it back on track of development. Later, Mansas were less successful, and from 1389 onward, the Mali Empire entered the state of disintegration. This shows that mere wealth was not enough to keep a huge empire like Mali together, hinting at Mansa Musa's good administration skills as well. But how rich was Mansa Musa exactly? We know that Mansas, the emperor of the Mali Empire, owned all the gold in the country. We are not aware of any sudden or drastic increase in gold production in Mali or the discovery of new gold mines during Musa's reign, which will potentially make him richer than the predecessors or successors. So we can claim that all other major emperors of Mali were arguably as rich as Musa, but unlike the others, Musa had been able to put himself and Mali on the map thanks to his pilgrimage. Amazing people in the Middle East with all his gold, glamour, and generosity are making historians write about him. There are different descriptions of his wealth. The history professor of the University of Michigan says, "Imagine as much gold as you think a human being could possess and double it. That is what all the accounts are trying to communicate. This is the richest man anyone has ever seen." Some have tried to come up with a figure with $300 billion being a popular estimate adjusted for inflation, but probably the best way to explain Mansa Musa's wealth was written by Jacob Davidson on Money website, richer than any could describe. Unfortunately, there is lack of sources to describe Mansa Musa's reign, life, and wealth in more detail, but what we have is enough to argue that Musa was a successful military leader, since he is attributed with annexing 24 cities and expanding the Mali Empire. He could be described as a progressive person who understood the importance of education and science for the prosperity of his reign, but Mansa Musa is mostly known for his wealth and is widely believed to be educated and scientist for the prosperity of his reign. More videos on the history of Africa are on the way, so make sure you are subscribed and have pressed the bell button. Please consider liking, commenting, and sharing. It helps immensely. Our video would be impossible without you guys. This is Historical Africa. Bye for now, and